What are the unspoken rules of physical relations? Story 1. Physical relations aren't just personal because you're bare or doing something taboo. They are special because they are about trust, communication, risk, and safety. There's the risk of EDS, pregnancy, even appendicitis. The bodies are a sensitive subject for lots of people. They're trusting you to treat theirs well, to view theirs, and to keep what you see private. Physical relations can be embarrassing, and people are often extremely vulnerable. Don't take this for granted. Treat them well. Story 2. Always shower before getting intimate. Have dinner after, not before. Also, brush your teeth before so that you aren't blowing the smell of your last meal or snack all over your partner while having some fun. Keep your restroom clean and ready for use afterward. Make natural noise to let your partner know they're doing something right. Don't just say there, but don't fake obnoxious sounds like in adult films. Real people can tell when it's fake. The reason this works perfectly for me is because I am happily single. So, I have to go to her place, or she has to come to mine, when I hook up with someone. That means I know in advance and in my city because of traffic, she or I won't just show up quickly. It will take some time, and that's the time I use to freshen up if needed. Most times I'm ready and don't need to stop to freshen up. I shower a lot. Before work, after workouts, so most times I'm walking around fresh. But I have had bad partners before that have needed the hygiene talk. That's why I suggest these things to people. I had a lazy partner that wanted to just go at it after a full day of work with body odor. Some people are into that, but let's not forget everyone doesn't appreciate the smell after a full day of work, especially if she didn't even shower before going to work. I think most people know these common sense things, but there may be some lazy people that need to hear it. Basic decency is not to assault your partner with poor hygiene. There's no reason why I should smell shit when I'm hitting it. So, all I'm saying is, if it's been a long time since the last shower, maybe you should shower before you get intimate with your partner. Story 3. Don't try a naughty fixation that may not be taken well by most people without discussing it first. I wouldn't want a man calling me mommy and asking me to tuck him in for bedtime mid-action. I'm out. Yeah, I have had a guy try and start consensual non-consent play mid-session without any heads up. Like, duh, I stopped. You said stop. The second time he did it, I legit just stood up. I don't care if that's your naughty fixation. I didn't consent to that. Paperwork is need for that. Or you are very much playing a game with my personal freedom at that point. He wanted to roleplay rape, but was too embarrassed to say so before, so he just tried to start it up during mid-session. Story 4. Even if the other person didn't ask about your history, if you have something, say something. You can get tested by mail for like $60. I can give a link to the service I use, but I don't want to seem like I'm shilling. Besides, I'm sure there are plenty other options. Check your county clinics and local Planned Parenthood clinics. They offer services for much cheaper, maybe even free. As an unfortunate victim, I can only say, please, always say something. I didn't use protection, and she lied. Luckily, it wasn't something much worse, but it still pisses me off today. Fortunately, I've only had 2 outbreaks in 5 years, and they never clustered. I know it's still kind of gross. My current girlfriend was hesitant. Rightfully so, but I've never transferred it, and I've always said something. It's been a deal breaker in the past, and someone I really liked who liked me told me specifically that it's because I was honest and told her beforehand. Really sucked. I think I'm in love with my current girlfriend. We spent almost a year together, so it worked out as of now. Story 5. Practice good principles of sports, rather than the strictly competitive nature. There's no pressure on participating. It's a voluntary activity. Compete to your ability. Stay healthy. Stay happy. Continue until all parties finish, to whatever their definition of finishing would be. Story 6. Number 1. Brush your teeth before going down, both male and female. Number 2. Even if you have been together for a long time, always ask if you want to do it before trying to put it in, because if you force your way as a male, you can really harm your partner and end up in ER. As a female is the same. If it slips and your partner's member is bend, you will also end up in ER. Or your partner just don't like it, and that's okay. Number 3. Not everyone loves to be hurt. Always ask first and talk. What are the limits? Number 4. If you are in a one-night stand, after you finish doing it, if you are the one in the house of the other part, ask, do you want me to stay or may I take my leave? As a male, I have heard a lot of complaints about other guys just assuming that they can crash there for the night. Number 5. Ask always what she or he likes, then apply it. Number 6. If your partner asks you to sit on his/her face and he/she says, "Don't worry if something happens to me, please have a safe move," like 3 taps or snap fingers, because something really might happen. Number 7. As a man, always use a rubber if it's a one-night stand or not that far in the relationship. If in a relationship, you can ask her if she would be okay with birth control as a contraception. Number 8. Some people, even if they are a man, they can consider physical relations as something they like to do only in a relationship. Don't judge us if we tell you we are not okay with being friends with benefits. Number 9. There will always be that day of the week where you go with your significant other to eat. Always agree who is going on top that day. It's a pain in the stomach to go on top if you eat a lot. Story 7. Clip your fingernails before checking her oil, if you know what I mean. Do it a day before or sand them down after because freshly cut nails hurts, and make sure your fingernails are clean. I shouldn't have to say this, but if there's obvious dirt under your nails, please do not put them inside of your partner. Ex-lady friend got liquored up and gave me a surprise oil check one night with a finger that had a very sharp hangnail. It cut me inside and it got infected, which led to surgery, which led to a painful recovery, and ultimately changed my entire diet. At least here I am a few years later, almost 100 pounds lighter, so I got that going for me. I don't know whether to feel bad or thank that wretched witch of an angel. Off. That's tough, but at least it helped to lose some weight. Story 8. If you or they pass gas, just move on like nothing happened. I sincerely believe that a foundational moment that solidified my relationship was when he passed gas while coming inside me for the first time. The moment I giggled, he busted into a fit of laughter, and a level of comfort I have never experienced in a relationship before was established. Laughing together is, honestly, one of the best parts of physical relations, and I think the ability to do so is one of the most important parts of the whole thing. Laughing at the silly things like farting or climaxing early or whatever does so much for the mood. If you can laugh with your partner during having fun, then you're on your way to an absolute A+ intimate life. But what if the gas is a beast and smells? Story 9. Adult films are for entertainment purposes only. A lot, most, of what they do is for the camera and does not feel good in real life. Physical relations in adult film is like fight scenes in movies. Carefully choreographed to look cool and not at all representative of the real thing. I'm sure men don't mistake mainstream adult films for intimacy. I sure as hell won't do the things that I fap to a real person. God no. In real life, if I'm in love with someone, I won't care about how big their tits are, or if they're into that particular naughty fixation, etc. All of that fades into the background. A real, mutually respectful, communicative physical relationship excites me in a totally different way. That and adult films has very little in common. Although often I wonder if it affects anything in my brain which could make real relationships less fulfilling. Story 10. If she says close, do not go fast, slow, or anything. Just keep doing what you're doing. When my wife says don't stop, you can bet I will 100% focus on continuing to do exactly what I'm doing, exactly the way I'm doing it no matter what happens. Muscles get tired? No, sir, not until we're finished. I'm getting suffocated? Doesn't matter, I would rather pass out than stopping. I remember about 20 years ago, my then-girlfriend were having fun in some kind of weird position. My lower back did not like it, and I was in a ton of pain, but she was liking it a lot. She kept saying she was close for like 5 minutes, so I kept going. After she finally peaked, I fell off her immediately and was like, I don't care about peaking, I just want to stop. She actually got really offended that my back hurt for some reason, which I never quite understood. My point was, I ignored the pain for 5+ minutes so you could peak and you're pissed off at me? Why? Though, in retrospect, I'm kind of impressed I was able to keep it up. At 47, if I tried that again in pain, I guarantee you, I wouldn't be able to stay up for very long. Story 11. Focus on pleasuring, not getting pleasured, but expect the other party to do the same thing and manage to enjoy pleasure while pleasuring. But at the same time, don't be a martyr. Follow a fair ebb and flow of pleasure giving. This ebb and flow will become pretty obvious once you get into it. I would strongly encourage everyone to be more vocal. If you just say, hey, could you try whatever thing, anyone sane won't be offended that you asked. In fact, as a guy, I like when women don't make it some big mystery. I want to give just help me help you, you know? And please don't give the other party full control over your pleasure, unless communicated, of course. Learn how to pleasure yourself and share that with your partner. Take care of yourself. I was in a relationship where intimate pleasure of both parties was 100% my responsibility, and it sucked so much. God, I hated that. I thought physical relations just had to be like that. I didn't know any better. Man, I can't wait to break free from these ideas and feelings. Story 12. If they make funny sounds while having fun, don't make a comment about it. Odds are they're totally in the moment and trusting you the most at that time. I take the strangest of sounds as a really, really good sign. Like, the other week when my wife made a sound I've never heard her make before, I was so elated in that moment that both of our lizard brains went full brrr and we peaked in sync. Pretty sure the oceans moved in harmony that night. But before, I had a bad experience with an ex-girlfriend. I was making out with her and engaging in some fun, harmless, dirty talk, and then I said something, don't remember what, and she laughed and said, "Is that your idea of dirty talk?" Immediate turn-off, and I felt so embarrassed. I laughed it off and said, I was just kidding around, but it had a huge impact on my self-esteem. It took my current wife a while to get me to even try dirty talk again. But once I did, I got into it, and she loves it. She never makes fun of me for it either. Story 13. Being intimate is a judgment-free time. You should never comment on someone's body, unless it's good things. It's a very vulnerable time. Common courtesy. Don't go tell your friends intimate details about your partner. That's supposed to stay between you guys. Keep some stuff private. This shouldn't even be an unspoken rule. It's just common courtesy. Story 14. I don't know about an unspoken rule, but sensual touch is underrated. I feel like men don't get enough of it or experience it often. Before you get busy, take time to feel his skin on yours. Stroke his back in gentle circles, from shoulders to buttocks. Run your fingers through his hair. Especially for people with anxiety, this keeps them in the moment. Get good at slow, sensual kisses. That goes for both partners. I feel like it just doesn't get enough play in adult content or other fiction, so people forget about it. There's also a psychological element to it as well. When you're with someone you're hot for, damn near every spot on your body is an erogenous zone because it's them touching it. Cuddling is amazing. I have had a few past partners who I could send way over the edge with some light, wispy fingers across sensitive skin while having fun. Trailing a few fingers across the body to find these while doing other things helps doubly keeps your mind focused elsewhere. And if you find one, it's possible to give your partner greater pleasure. Get good at pregame. Okay, noted. I love this tip, but I still have a lot more tips and tricks, so smash that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want the deets. Story 15. Everyone gets off at least once. Everyone should get off. It's everyone's job to be mindful of the other, and it's the individual's job to communicate what they like and what feels good. Plenty of times I haven't gotten off and was basically counting down the whole 2 minutes for him to be done while I planned my grocery list. He did care if I got off sometimes, but others I didn't want to have physical relations at all, so the phrase was 2 minutes tops. Sad state of affairs on that one. Story 16. Have fun. It's physical relations. It's not a "are you worth existing" test. Relax. Go crazy. Be an animal. Enjoy yourselves. You are wild gazelle but captive for years. Captors leave car keys on the table and fall asleep. With super fast gazelle speed, you grab the keys, run, and drive all the back to the safari. You hop out, smell the familiar air, and sprint off into the savannah going crazy and doing gazelle stuff. This form of the gazelle must be embodied by you and then applied in the bedroom. Be this animalistic. Story 17. If she tells you that you need to put on a rubber, then you need to put on a rubber, and that thing stays on until you're both all done. If she says you don't need a rubber, then you should probably wear a one anyway. If he says he doesn't have a rubber, then direct him to the nearest 24-hour store garage. If he says he won't wear one because they're too tight, lose the sensation, etc., then direct him to the door. Stay safe out there, people. I feel like this dude is supposed to add, and make sure to always say, "Yes, master." Story 18. A physical relations is about both sides having fun, not just one side. As bad as men are at physical relations, word on the street, women need to hear this as much as men. Just laying there is not having physical relations. It's being served. In our male circle, we call this phenomenon starfish. It is not something I enjoy personally, and I have not heard anyone who says they do enjoy it. Story 19. If you want to be intimate with this person a second time, make sure the aftercare is top-notch. Talk, laugh, shower, bake cookies, listen to music, listen to them. Aftercare is just as the act itself to get more. Story 20. Make noise. It's more fun if I know you're having fun. This goes for guys and girls, please make some noise. It's a lot more fun when you know your partner is enjoying themselves too. I'm finally with someone where I can do that with and not be distracted, but for the first 14 years I was active. I only made noise because it was expected. Doing it actually made it incredibly difficult for me to focus and reach a frenzy state. What could have been accomplished in 5 minutes would take 20, 30 plus minutes because I was focused on making sound instead of concentrating on how it felt. I guess my point is that, yes, it's freeing to make some noise, but it doesn't have to be forced. Also, it takes trust in a great partner you are comfortable with and totally into to make genuine noise. On top of this, move. Few things are as unattractive as a partner who simply lays there like a dead fish. Story 21. Don't tell anything mean, insulting, even as a joke during or after physical relations. And when I say insult, I mean actual insult shaming, not the weird kind. I am speaking from personal experience. Story 22. What happens in the bedroom? That's between you and the other person. Some folks will let themselves be vulnerable with people they trust, but it isn't cool to have one of them tell the dirty details. It ain't a zoo, shouldn't talk about the dirty animal stuff you saw without consent. You can talk about what you like and what you are into, but you wouldn't show private photos of the other person without their consent. Why would you paint a picture about their interaction? Back when I was single, I was super selfish with any private photos I was sent. I felt like they were specifically meant for me and that showing them to any would make them less special to me. Also, it is a creepy thing to do to betray someone's trust like that. They are opening themselves up in an intimate way. Respect that, unless they are unsolicited private photos. If you randomly send private photos to people who didn't want them, there should be no expectation of privacy. I've been trying to say this to people for so long and nobody seems to understand. Just because someone is comfortable enough with you to be intimate in some way, doesn't mean they're comfortable with your friends in the same way. It's disrespectful and a violation of their privacy. Story 23. Do not reference adult films. Seriously, I like to make the comparison that adult films is to physical relations as action movie driving is to real-world driving. They both involve the same basic actions as their real-life counterparts, but they are highly exaggerated and doing it on real life can get you into major trouble. In an action movie, they steer the car, accelerate, and brake. However, they also quickly speed past the speed limit. They will also take turns sharply at full speed instead of slowing down. They'll barely miss pedestrians and sometimes go airborne. If you tried any of that on a real road, you'd lose your driver's license. The same goes for adult films. The basic actions are the same as real-world physical relations, but it's exaggerated to ridiculous proportions. If you tried to have this with your partner without discussing it first, you're likely not going to have a partner for long and might wind up in legal trouble. Story 24. If you're not sure if it's okay, ask. Because consent is hot. I was with a guy one time. We were hooking up and he was getting a little rough. He paused and asked very clearly if I was comfortable with that. It was so hot because I was immediately at ease. It was a quick way of adding a layer of trust. I could let go and get really into it and not feel like I had to have my guard up so much because I could trust he was aware and conscious of reasonable boundaries. Ever since then, I've thought it's hot. Of course, it's also about the person and how they say it. If it's a clinical contractual exchange, that's not sexy, but if it's done right, it can be so hot. Sometimes no can mean maybe, but I need to be reassured about something before I agree. It'll usually for trying scary new things. Somebody might be hesitant about it, but they can be willing to try once comfortable boundaries have been established. Maybe a safe word, gesture, or a commitment to set a strict time limit for the first time. The word can sometimes be used that way for simple things like being worried that a door isn't locked at a party. No, what if somebody walks in on us? The important thing is that you talk it through to find out, taking care not to pressure your partner. If it's a hard no, obviously you just accept that and don't bring it up again. I also know a guy whose wife is Thai and loves super spicy food, and I mean food that I, a spice freak, take a bite of and go, "What is wrong with you?" He was talking about how they were really careful about this specific thing after one unfortunate night. But then one day, she decided she wanted to try from the back. Well, you know how the day after you eat a really spicy meal, your butthole will be on fire. Dude said it was absolutely terrible, and he never wants to experience that again. I find the whole thing hilarious as an uninvolved third party, though. I guess it's a good thing I love sweet things. My partner will never have to go through terrible things like that. Story 25. If she tells you to go south and you just had eaten a really spicy meal, make sure to brush your teeth, tongue, and wash it all down with some mouthwash. I made that huge mistake once. I got a kick to my shoulder before I realized what was happening. I hope you enjoy the video. And if you made this far, I'm sure you will also enjoy other videos. See you in next video. Bye.